You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. I am your host, Booney. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen of the day. I'm from the Bay Area, and I've been a diehard A's fan since 1981. I'm here to bring you a real fans take, covering everything from Sacramento to Las Vegas. This is the place for A's fans to get the latest game breakdowns, team news, and more. This is where the passion of the fans take center stage. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. And please hit that subscribe button wherever you are following the show. Today's episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. All right, guys, good afternoon, everybody. First time I am trying something like this, and maybe something I will do a lot more often in the future. First pitch is scheduled for 12:05, and as you see below, let me get it up right now. The starting lineup is running through on the bottom of the page. Game is not televised today, but I will be following it on MLB Gamecast and updating you along the way. I'll be answering any questions or comments you may have. In the meantime, I want to cover some very, very interesting betting odds for the A's in some futures for individual accolades. That's a bit later. Jack Perkins, one of the A's top prospects, is expected to throw a couple innings today, and I am extremely high on this prospect. I'll tell you why a little bit later. First, starting today for the A's is free agent signing, who I feel is absolutely critical for the A's, and that is Jeffrey Springs. Now, let's see if the game has started as of yet. It should be any minute. Jeffrey Springs, a free agent pickup we got from the, not a free agent pickup. We traded for Springs. He was part of the Joe Boyle trade. Picked up his contract, all that good stuff. And the A's game is getting ready to get underway. Sorry, guys, just trying to get this whole thing organized a little bit. First time. Let's talk a little bit about Jeffrey Springs. Drafted in 2015 in the 30th round by the Rangers. He was traded from the Rangers to the Red Sox in 2020 and then traded again by the Red Sox to the Devil Rays in 2021. He's bounced around a bit, but his breakout season was in 2022. He went 9-5, 2.46 ERA in 135 innings pitched, which included 144 strikeouts. Had Tommy John surgery and literally has been out the past 2 seasons. Pitched only a total of 49 innings. This is his first spring training in 3 years. And when he is right, he is one of the best left-handers in the American League. If you want a comparison, think of a left-handed Logan Webb is the best type of comparison um, for a Jeffrey Springs. He's had one outing so far this spring. He went 2 innings. I believe he had a perfect first. 2 innings, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts. Was solid for for his first outing. Like I said, for his first spring training in 3 years. A's lineup, as usual, is the Law Dogs, Lawrence Butler today, followed with batting second, as you can see. Gio Urshela, who's had a nice spring, 375 after a slow start. Tyler Soderstrom, batting third, playing first base. He has played some catcher early on in spring, which is an actually really, really, really big deal for the A's. And is there a possibility that Soderstrom does become our backup catcher, thus freeing up a roster spot for somebody else? That is a possibility, no question about it. Johnny Pereda is batting 8th today. It's going to be catching. If he needs to have a big spring in order to earn that backup spot. Otherwise, I think Soderstrom is more than capable of taking over the roles behind the dish. And to open up the game, Friedel looks like he flew out to semi-deep center field. That's a good start for Jeffrey Springs. 1 out, top of 1. It is absolutely extremely important that Springs has a decent spring training. I've said on many occasions, the key to the A's season is Jeffrey Springs and Luis Severino. They have not given a ton of innings over the last several years. Severino was solid last year. We know what he can do. Veteran arm. But the key to the A's being successful is our top 2 pitchers. What's going on, Mr. Togo and Moss? RD Moss, how are you, sir? Thank you for stopping by. That's for sure. Any word on the Vegas, I believe, Fan Fest with the split squad going on? Any news? I can't imagine that the A's won't have their top prospects, their top team in Vegas for that outing. That would absolutely shock me. Espinal just singled off Springs, run on first, 1 out. With Gavin Lux. Gavin Lux was a nice pickup by the Reds. No new news. Be there, yeah. I can't imagine that the A's won't have their primary roster in Vegas that day. I think the A's did schedule that split squad intentionally. So I don't think there's much to worry about there. I would be absolutely shocked if they don't. The A's right now have about 68 players on their roster. So, we'll see. But like I mentioned, Jeffrey Springs, got to have him this year. Luis Severino is going to be big for us. He pitched yesterday, went 2 innings, allowed 1 run, was solid, struck out 1. It was a good first outing for Severino. I like what the A's are doing. I like their chances. The betting odds aren't agreeing with how I think, though. The betting odds are absolutely ridiculous, and I'll get into that a little bit later. One pitcher you can expect to throw a couple innings following Springs is one of my favorite prospects in all of the A's organization is Jack Perkins. That's a great question, Nick. Well, you got to remember, Nick, that earlier on this spring, going into spring trainings, the A's actually DFA'd Kyle McCann. And on a DFA, another team has 10 days to pick up the option of the player. No one did. So he went back to the A's. He is no longer part of the 40-man roster. He is on the 60-man roster. So in order for McCann to get back on the 26-man roster, they will either have to DFA somebody from the 40-man roster in order for space to be made and him to eventually get to the 26-man roster. So yeah, right now he is considered a non-roster invitee. I was surprised. I liked McCann a lot, and the A's disagreed on that one, went with Johnny Pereda, and that's why they signed him. But I thought McCann was good. He had big hits last year, had the late home run in Baltimore that won a game. So I was really, really surprised with the situation of McCann. In order for McCann to make the 26-man roster or even the 40-man, he's going to have a hell of a spring. He hasn't started off bad. McCann is, 2 for 4. He's had 4 at-bats, hasn't played much. RBI, run scored. He's walked twice. McCann always seems to have good at-bats. So, yeah, Nick, I was surprised. I was surprised that that McCann was DFA'd. I like him a lot. And considering he's left-handed, yeah. I was very shocked by that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if he earns his spot back. Let me give you a little update back on the A's game. So 2 outs, runner on first. Well, Espinal got caught stealing from first to second. Pereda threw him out, captured a shortstop. Gavin Lux walked. Jeffrey Springs is pitching to Tyler Stevenson. So, speaking of catcher, Pereda sure looks good defensively. That's for sure. Like I was mentioning, Jack Perkins. Jack Perkins is one of my favorite prospects. He is one of the fastest rising arms in the A system. Had a dominant second half of 2024, posting a 1.43 ERA with 54 Ks in his final 7 starts of the year. He was hurt to begin 2024, had a lat injury, and once he was healthy, he was something else. He was taken by the A's in the 5th round of the 2022 draft out of Indiana. And a lot of individuals in the A's front office considered him to be a steal. Fastball that sits around 93 to 95, has touched 96 plus, a lot of movement, a lot of deception. What I love about him is that Jack Perkins is one of those guys that is an absolute gamer. In 11 innings of postseason play last year for Midland, he had 20 Ks. Take a look at his last 6 starts of the year. And keep in mind that these games were all big games, either playoff games or critical games to get to the playoffs. He's one of those guys where it's a big game and he says, hey, give me the ball. I have compared him to a Nathan Eovaldi from the Texas Rangers. And if you even want to go a little bit more old school, this may be a little bit much, but He has shades of Kurt Schilling. He's a gamer, man. He's as good as they get. So keep an eye on Jack Perkins. He's scheduled to throw a couple innings today. And again, I talked about his last 6 starts. Check this out. 7 innings pitched, 1 hit, 8 Ks, 2 walks. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run, 6 Ks, 3 walks. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 7 Ks, 1 walk. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 10 strikeouts. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 12 Ks. I mean, the kid is just unreal. Togo, RD Moss. I love Jacob Wilson. He's off to a brutal start this spring, 0 of 9. So it's early. When he originally got brought up last year by the A's, his first at bat was a base hit up the middle. He scored later on in the inning. And when he scored, he got hurt. And it sidelined him a good 6 weeks. He came back. He was okay. Hit about 240, 250. Doesn't have a whole lot of power. But is a gap-to-gap guy. Has a high level of putting the bat on the ball. Solid shortstop. But yeah, this spring, he's had a very slow start. 0 for 9. He struck out once. He's played a solid shortstop. It's early. He's adjusting. I get it. But there needs to be a time where he gets things rolling. That's for sure. So, love Wilson. Big fan of him. But he's definitely had a slow start. And speaking of starts, it's a good sign for old Jeffrey Springs as he gets out of the first unscathed, allowing 1 hit, 1 walk, and striking out 1. 0-0 bottom 1 with Butler, Urshela, and Soderstrom coming to the dish. Coming to the plate. And let's see if old Mr. Butler can stay hot. The kid's absolutely on fire. Hitting 556. I like Soderstrom in the 3-hole. Leday's had a good spring. Urshela is somebody we absolutely need to be who he was. And you know what's interesting so far this spring, though, is the odds makers. And I know you Vegas guys like odds makers. And I'm going to go through some interesting odds that I found a bit shocking up next. This episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. Whether I'm backing my team for a late-game rally or picking a player to hit a clutch 3, I never feel like I missed my chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets. If your first $5 bet wins, just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Speaking of betting odds, you're going to find these odds extremely interesting. Oh, I did. first, let's get you a little update on the ball game. Lawrence Butler grounded out to first. You got to remember, the A's are facing Hunter Green. Hunter Green is arguably one of the best pitchers in the National League. He is a Cy Young candidate. If he's right, if the team wins, etc. He has that type of stuff. So Hunter Green is no joke. Anyway, AL Cy Young. For those who are interested in who wins the AL Cy Young. Now, this is for entertainment purposes. You Vegas people may put a few bucks on it if you like. Luis Severino, if you were to bet $100 and Luis Severino won the Cy Young, you're getting back $12,500. He is plus $12,500. So as you know, or if you don't, anything I refer to as plus 12,000 or a plus 1,000 or plus 100 is based on a $100 bet. Luis Severino to win the Cy Young plus 12,500. The favorite is Tarik Skubal from the Tigers plus 400. AL Manager of the Year, Mark Kotsay plus 1,200. The favorite is Dan Wilson from the Mariners plus 350. How about AL MVP? Well, Brett Rooker is you got it, Z Corp. Happy Friday. Let's go A's. I love it. Brett Rooker, AL MVP plus 3,000. Lawrence Butler, AL MVP plus 5,000. The favorite for AL MVP is Aaron Judge plus 300. How about AL Reliever of the Year? Mason Miller is second on the board, plus 400 to the favorite Emmanuel Clase from the Guardians at plus 300. AL Rookie of the Year. Here's to a little bit more to how the public feels about him, RD Moss. Jacob Wilson, plus 800. The favorite, Jason Dominguez from the Yankees, plus 400. MLB home run leader, Brett Rooker, plus 2,500. Lawrence Butler, plus 10,000. Aaron Judge is your favorite at plus 350. How about MLB strikeout leader? The favorite, could you guess? Paul Skeens, plus 400. Luis Severino, plus 12,500. And Jeffrey Springs, we talked about a little bit earlier, plus 15,000. How about if the A's were going to win the World Series? Plus 15,000. The favorite, no shocker here, the Dodgers, plus 275. American League champs, the favorite, Yankees, plus 300. The A's, plus 6,600. How about the American League West? Here's just absolutely zero respect for the A's. The American League West favorite right now is the Astros at plus 145, $100 to win $145. The Rangers next are plus 200. The Mariners are plus 225. And the Athletics and Angels are tied, plus 2,500. I have guaranteed, and I still do, and I still stick with that the A's will win the American League West. And the A's to get in the playoffs is plus 550. That's a pretty big discrepancy between that and the AL West, considering I think it's going to be easier to win the AL West than to earn a wild card spot. The over-under for the A's wins of the year, minus 125 to win 100, over-under 71.5 wins. Obviously, there is not a whole lot of confidence with regard to the A's and what they potentially can do this year, which to me is nutty. The A's went down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first. Butler grounded out to first. Urshela struck out swinging, and Tyler Soderstrom grounded out to second. Jeffrey Springs opened up the top of the second with Candelario, who there was rumors in the offseason of the A's picking up. He flied out to right field, and with one out in the top of two, Christian Encarnacion Strand is now up. Springs' start, he's okay, actually. Excuse me. 1 1/3 inning pitched, 1 hit, no runs, 1 K, 2 base on balls. Base on balls has been a serious issue for the A's. That's absolutely no question about it. I mean, they have to get that under control. They've had a nice start to spring training, 4-1-1. No question about it. They came through late yesterday. I like where they're at. I like what they're doing. Are they being overlooked is my question. I think they are big time. I can never pronounce his name correctly. Encarnacion Strand flied out to center field. 2 outs in the inning. Nobody on. So Springs again looks good. He's walked 2. He's given up a hit. Yeah, flea market floppy. I agree with you. I'm glad these A's depth chart projections finally put Badeau in the rotation. A few months ago, they had him in a AAA. Crazy. I agree. 100%. Makes you wonder if people even watched the games last year, because the last 5 or 6 starts down the season, Badeau was dominant. I mean, he was our best pitcher, even compared to Sears. Sears, sure, had a great June, had a great July, but struggled in August. And Badeau was consistent along the way. Really, just 1 or 2 bad outings. But 100% agree with you. I was shocked that when I saw that, and even that he was still contending for a spot with Estes, Spence, Basso, and all those other guys. He was put in that mix. I have Severino, Springs, Sears, Badeau as a done deal. I have them, no question, in the starting lineup. What do we have here? We have 2 outs, runner on third. I'm not quite sure how he got there. He gave up a base hit to, Cedric Benson, big left-handed hitter for the Reds, tripled to right. He actually did some damage against the A's last year. Yeah, Badeau is the best stuff right there, flea market. I'm with you, 100%. No question about it. Runner on third, 2 outs. Springs pitching to Blake Dunn. These are one of these outs we got to get. This is a big at bat for Springs. It's a pressure type of situation. It's the highest type of pressure situation you're going to see in spring training, because this is going to be Springs' last batter. So, and he's definitely going to be giving his best on this one. Single to center, Benson scored. 1-0 Reds. Top 2. A lot of games left. That's for sure. A lot of games left. Speaking of games, The A's will be televised tomorrow against the Angels, I believe is who they got. You got to get the app in order to see that game, right? Subscribe to MLB.TV. It's $7 a month. And they stream a ton of spring training games, not a whole lot of A's games, but a ton of spring training games. Tomorrow is one of the games that they will be streaming. Flea market, gonna go to see the A's play the White Sox in April. Never been to Brewers Stadium. Stadium looks unbelievable. Stadiums I have been to: Coliseum, Candlestick, Oracle, AT&T, Pac Bell, whatever you want to call it. Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium was pretty awesome. I went to Yankee Stadium before they old Yankee Stadium. I went to Shea Stadium. That was special. Anaheim Stadium. I went to Wrigley. That was sweet. What else did I go to? I think that's it. As far as stadiums I have been through, excuse me. You know what else game I went to? I went to the Royals-Giants Game 6 in Kansas City. That was a lot of fun. Great stadium. Similar to how the Coliseum has it, how Oakland had it, where you have the Coliseum and the basketball stadium one side, except there they have the football stadium and the baseball stadium on one site, and it's quite a ways away from anything. But anyway, Spring's still in the inning, pitching to TJ Friedel right now, so not bad, guys, not bad. Anyway, drop me a comment. Let me know if this is something you guys want me to do in the future. I know today didn't come across the smoothest. First time doing it for me, so a lot of things I was experimenting with, excuse me. But if this is something you guys want to see in the future, or maybe just your normal type of stories and podcasts, etc., I could definitely mix them both. White Sox and Brewers, yeah, I agree with you, RD Moss. When it's a game on TV, yeah, no question. This is brutal. Trying to watch it on Gamecast, but it was definitely a good experience. The A's got out of the inning. Bottom two, 1-0 Reds. Let's go A's. Hey, thank you all for tuning in. I really, really appreciate all the support, and we will definitely do this earlier when for sure there's a game definitely on TV, and we'll try it then. But in the meantime, thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen of the day. For your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings a daily blend of humor and baseball, keeping you updated on every rumor and story throughout the offseason. Find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I will check you guys out on Monday. Have a great weekend, fellas. And yeah, RD Moss, I'm going to try to figure out all that stuff and get this fixed next time I get into it for sure. Take care, fellas.